Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Karma, your past is not your future. Well, I do agree with that for sure. Now, your past does affect your future, and I like his explanation of karma in another video. I'm curious as to what it's going to explain on this one, because you could say there is a way to explain karma that I think most people understand. Things you do in the past will affect you in the future. You're terrible to someone, if they're going to remember that, and then in the future, if they happen to be the boss at a job you're trying to apply for, it's not going to look good, and that might affect you getting that job. So I do believe in karma to some degree. Now Sadhguru talks about it in terms of your DNA and stuff, which I do agree to. Your DNA is something that's been passed down since the beginning of time. If you're alive today, it's because something from back in the day survived to make you. It's up to you whether you pass your genes along or not. Anyway, let's go and get started.
The doctrine of karma is widely accepted by Hindus, Buddhists, and by many others, but it's often misunderstood. And some of those misunderstandings can actually be quite harmful, like to falsely believe that all your problems are entirely due to bad karma. This false belief can make you passively submit to terrible situations instead of trying to improve them. I've already explained the doctrine of karma in other videos on his channel. You can find a link below. But this presentation is different. It's an attempt to address the most harmful misunderstanding about karma as briefly as possible.
I'm wondering if you're saying like the people who accept the bad nature that happens to them and say this is my punishment and therefore accepts it, as opposed to trying to do something about it?
The rishis, the sages of ancient India, never taught that your past actions can predestine or predetermine certain events in your life. Nor did they teach that your life is completely controlled by karma and nothing can be changed. Instead, they described karma more like a force that can affect or influence the outcome of your actions.
And I like that definition, but mind you, I don't believe in reincarnation, rebirth. However, in some sense I can, as in the fact that this particular, my body, as it is, eventually will all come back together in another body. And in some sense you could say that's kind of like rebirth. To a very stretched degree, I suppose. But anyways, what was he saying? Oh yeah, the influence of your of karma. This is the thing I do believe in, but in your life in particular, because again, like I said, if you in high school or in elementary school or middle school or whatever schooling it happens to be, if you were terrible to someone, they generally will remember that, and then some 20 years down the road, you're trying to apply for a job, then you realize the person that's trying to hire you was the person that you're really terrible to back in high school or back during your schooling. And that's kind of, in a sense, karma, to a degree. I genuinely do believe in that.
Let me explain. For any action or deed you commit, 4 different outcomes are possible. You can get what you want, you can get more than you want, you can get less than you want, or you can get the opposite of what you want. For example, if you cross the street to catch a bus, you can get on the bus. Or you can get more than you want if a friend in a car sees you and gives you a ride. Or you can get less than you want if the bus drives off before you reach it. Or you can get halfway across the street and wake up in a hospital room after being struck by a passing car, the opposite of what you want. The very same action can have these 4 different outcomes because many different factors are involved. Some factors you can control, like when you cross the street. Other factors you can't control, like the traffic. Some factors are known to you, like the bus schedule, but many other factors are unknown. According to the rishis, those unknown factors include your good and bad karma. To understand how that karma affects the outcome of your actions, here's a helpful metaphor.
But I wonder if the actions that are known to you, are they considered good or bad, or neither? So again, I'm just asking a question like the bus schedule. Like, you know the bus schedule, but obviously sometimes the bus runs ahead of time or behind time. But is the bus schedule itself inherently good karma or bad karma? Or when you cross the street, good karma or bad karma? Or is there no karma involved in these things? Is it the fact that not everything involves karma, but certain actions? If you cross the street at a right time when there's no traffic whatsoever, is that good karma? Don't think it's bad. Good would be kind of weird to say. It would be neutral in my opinion. There's nothing necessarily good or bad about it. You're not affecting anyone, so good. But if you cross the street when you know someone's coming to kind of force them to stop, bad karma maybe? I'm just kind of curious if karma is involved in everything. Is something as mundane as knowing the schedule, or is karma only ever involved in actions and thoughts, like how I've learned it to be?
My father taught me how to sail when I was still a child. I learned that the direction of a sailboat is determined by several factors. He taught me how to adjust the rudder to set the course, and how to adjust the sails to catch as much wind as possible. The rudder and sails were under my control, but the strength and direction of the wind were not. Sometimes the wind blew in an unfavorable direction, and at other times the wind died out altogether, forcing us to start the small outboard motor installed on the boat. The wind was an unpredictable and uncontrollable factor that always affected our travel. Here's the idea. You can control your actions, like controlling the boat's rudder and sails, but you can't control or predict the so-called winds of karma. Wind is a force of nature that can blow in a favorable direction or in an unfavorable direction. Karma is also a force of nature, not a physical force, but a subtle, unseen force, a force that can either help you or hinder you in reaching your goals. Now, consider this. Regardless of the direction of the wind, you can sail almost anywhere you want simply by adjusting the rudder and sails correctly. In the same way, you can pursue almost any goal in life, regardless of your karma, by adjusting or redirecting the efforts you make. For example, suppose you lose your job when you're laid off due to your company's downsizing. Losing your job could be the result of bad karma. Yet you can adjust or compensate for that karma by redirecting your efforts. You can apply for other jobs and maybe get hired for an even better position. Regardless of your karma, you can always find a way to compensate for it. Look at this. Even when the wind blows directly against you, you can still reach your destination by sailing in a zigzag path called tacking. Sure, it takes more time and effort, but you're never helplessly overpowered by the wind. In the same way, you're never helplessly overpowered by karma. With careful planning and with persistent effort, you can overcome almost any obstacle. Sometimes you'll need the help of others to reach your goals. Like in the sailboat, we sometimes had to use the outboard motor when the winds died away. So, to quote a common expression, you truly are the captain of your ship. Like an expert sailor wisely adjusts the rudder and sails according to the wind, you can wisely adjust your actions according to the winds of karma.
So, obviously understand that karma is action and thoughts. Physical action, things that you do, actively do, and in perhaps passively do as well. But also your thoughts. So again, obviously reading the schedule, is that, what kind of karma is that? You're not actively doing anything. You are actively doing something. You are reading a piece of paper just to get information. And again, I'm trying to understand the limitations, trying to understand the boundaries, perhaps, or what affects karma supposed to be. Is merely reading a piece of paper affect your karma? And if so, for example, the bus example, the scheduling of the bus, when the bus comes and when it doesn't come. Is that so? Basically, you reading, it's like, okay, there's 1 at 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like it's every hour the bus will come to the station or to stop. Is that good or bad karma? Or is it neutral? I don't know if there's such things as neutral karma. Because it is technically an active action that you're doing. But it only affects you, and it affects your knowledge of the bus route, or when the bus comes to this particular station. Other than that, it doesn't affect anyone else. It doesn't affect anything else in a good or negative way. It only affects you, neither in a good or negative way either, but it affects you in terms of your knowledge. So let me know. I'm just curious as to whether karma is in every single action that you do, even something as mundane as just reading the bus schedule. Yeah, let me know.
And by doing so, you can skillfully navigate the challenges of life to reach your goals.
Okay, I think that's it. Yes. And yes, please do go to his YouTube channel and watch his videos. He has another one that's really good, but it kind of just came out recently. Anyways, so I know karma, again, like I said, is something that is active that you do. You have to, I believe you have to be active in doing. The only reason why I say passive to some degree is because of what Sadhguru said about your DNA. You have karmic DNA, karmic karma in your DNA, which whether you have, cancer cells and whatnot. And I get that. That's kind of like your genes being passed along. That, some people are more prone to certain kinds of diseases because of their DNA. So you could look at that as karma, which I understand, but that's something that you don't actively do. So now I don't know if you believe in Sadhguru whenever he says that. I mean, I get it; it makes sense. Obviously, there are people with a family line of like high blood pressure, for example, and obviously that you could say that's karma in terms of DNA because it is something that's followed along that bloodline. And if you do something bad that raises your blood temperature, it's going to hit you, or something along those lines. But again, I'm trying to look at mundane actions and whether that generates karma. I can't remember. I think they say everything generates karma, but can just something like reading a pamphlet or reading a bus schedule generate karma? Let me know in the comments. I'm not too sure. I've either not heard or don't remember anyone saying that everything produces karma. Maybe Sadhguru has. But I want to make sure that the mundane actions like drinking water, or again, that's active that you're doing. Your body requires water. You say, okay, I'll go get you water, and you start drinking water. You know, just like mundane actions. Or is it only actions where it affects other people or potentially affects other people? That potential affects other people gets into very dangerous lines into where even mundane actions has a potentiality of affecting other people. Because grabbing a pillow and just moving it over, and then all of a sudden this one person comes down and sits down, and then he hurts his back because he thought the pillow was there, because the pillow has always been there. Is that bad karma action because you moved the pillow not knowing that the person is going to sit there? And it seems like a mundane action, but it's not. Maybe I'm thinking too deep into this, but that's just the way I am. So you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but I'm just trying to better understand it even more. Again, I do understand basic understandings of karma. Active actions, I completely understand. You deciding to do something to someone, actively affecting other people, that makes perfect sense. But mundane actions, let me know in the comments. I said a lot of words. Anyways, that's the end of this video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.